Hello everyone and welcome back to Will a Wonderful World. Finally, I know it's been about a week or so, maybe a little bit longer than that since I posted my last video, but I did get a little bit busy with work. I didn't really have time to work on the videos, but now I've got a couple days off, so I'm going to sit down and I'm going to record quite a few videos hopefully in the next few days and get them uploaded over a period of maybe a week and a half. Kind of spread it out a little bit so I can have that content in case anything else comes up. And of course I'm going to be recording other games as well. Anyways, to recap, in the last episode in this game, Li Wen and Jimmy teamed up in a tennis match, and the ball came for Jimmy. He hit the ball, knocked it out, and was embarrassed because he knocked it out in front of this hot girl, Li Wen. But you know what? He's kind of a stalker kind of character, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. I got the X endings, I didn't get the star or S rank endings, but that's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to these next two here. 20,000 pesos and Here I Come. I think I'll start with the 20,000 pesos just because it's on the left side. Either way I have to read them both before I work on them, but I think I'm going to start on this one. Oh yeah, I got to click this. My name is Carlos. I'm 18 years old. It was a big day, because I was finally going to leave Mexico. Uncle Depp, who had always helped out at the orphanage, and Auntie Benita, who is the matron of the orphanage, used to tell me that if I ever wanted to go to a foreign country, I need to have a passport first. And then I would need a visa. Finally, I could go to the airport and buy a ticket. Then I could fly wherever I wanted to go. I had gotten my passport, and apparently going to Hong Kong didn't require a visa. All I needed was a plane ticket. Uncle Depp and I had headed out this morning before the sun even came out. He had been driving me through the mountains for 6 hours to get to the international airport. He then stuffed a couple of warm burritos wrapped up in paper into my backpack before I said goodbye. I didn't know when I would ever see him again. I already missed him. I walked into the airport, and I couldn't help slowing down in admiration. The place was so big. No wonder the tickets were so expensive. I needed to ask someone to tell me where I could buy a ticket. I bumped into another man. The 3 boxes he was carrying all fell to the ground. I helped him pick up the boxes and stack them. I hope nothing inside got broken. The man was wearing a pair of glasses with golden frames. He seemed like a nice person. He took the boxes out of my hands and was not mad at me at all. He just nodded and walked away. He really was nice. Even though there were signs in the airport, I couldn't read many of them. I walked around twice before I found the ticket counters. A ticket cost over 10,000 pesos, just like Uncle Depp had told me. I had all my savings with me, including the money my parents and sister had left me, as well as what I had earned doing part-time jobs. It was only a little over 20,000 pesos altogether. However, something terrible had happened. I couldn't find my wallet anywhere. I clearly remembered checking to make sure that I had it when I left. Maybe I had dropped it on Uncle Depp's car? I ran outside of the airport. I saw the man that I had bumped into earlier. He was still wandering around with those 3 boxes. Was he lost? But I didn't have time to worry about him. I had to go check and see if Uncle Depp had already left. I couldn't find him anywhere outside the airport. He probably had headed back. I had to walk toward the mountains along the road that we had arrived on. I had my backpack on, feeling awful. It wasn't a popular road, and it was already too late. There were no other cars in sight. I hoped that I could get a ride tomorrow morning. Lord, why was I so unlucky? What is Mexico? It is a big country in the west. West? To our west? Do we live in the east? Oh, no, of course not. We don't live in their world, so there's no east or west to anywhere. The Earth is a round planet, so east or west is all relative. Relative? You're not making any sense. Do you mean that the Mexican people would say that their own country is in the west too? Now she's confusing me too. Oh, by the way, the writers of the earlier letters, are they from China? I always feel a strange sense of closeness when I think of China. Mexico feels more distant to me. Why is that? Well, maybe it's just because there are more people who wrote to us from China. I hear that Chinese people are all over the earth. There are a lot of them in every country. Really? So is this letter written in Chinese too, as well as the earlier ones? Because they all look the same to me. Oh no, this is our language. In fact, the people who wrote to us came from many different countries, and they would use different languages. But once we received them, they were all automatically translated into a language that we can understand. Oh wow, being a god is so convenient. Yeah, it is. Carlos. Well, things kind of seem to suck for Carlos. He's not going to be able to make his flight on time. But, I mean, he can wait until the next day and then get on a plane. Let's go ahead and go to the next letter. Let's see what this one's about. Here I come. My name is Cheng Jung-min. I probably said that wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and just live with it. And I recently graduated from the Korean Police Academy. I'm 23 years old. It was my first day reporting to the Busan Police Precinct, but I hadn't realized that I had overslept until my search body alarm clock had gone off for the 10th time. I jumped out of bed, slipped into my pants and shirt, and rushed out the door with my coat in hand. I even knocked over my neighbor's flowers by accident. Sorry. I'll clean it up later. I'm running late. Still, I was 45 minutes late when I finally got to the station. The captain was sitting behind the desk. He squeezed a "kids these days" out of his mouth, then he seemed to lose any energy or interest to even speak to me. Then I was transferred to the archives. The archives? As computers and the internet become prevalent in our daily lives, important data such as identity and residence information have all been turned into electronic records in a police database. Okay, I assumed that's what it was, but I wasn't sure, so I went ahead and clicked on it, but alright. Let's go ahead and get back here. How could I have overslept on my first day? Please, Buddha, please help me fix this. Please, please. Becoming a member of the Criminal Investigation Department has been my dream growing up. I don't want to go to the archives. What is criminal investigation? Is it that much better than archives? Well, criminal investigation is the place where the police try to solve cases and catch bad guys, but you can't completely disregard the archives either. That is true. Cheng Jung-min. Alrighty. Let's see. I'm not exactly sure what things I'm going to be switching around, but let's go ahead and check here. I'm assuming his alarm clock? No. So, this is the only thing I can change. So, he didn't bump into the man. The boxes didn't fall. So, what would that mean? You know what? I think I know what's going to happen. If he doesn't bump into this man and he doesn't have to pick up those boxes, means that he'll be in there sooner, realize he doesn't have his wallet, come out, and maybe his uncle will still be there, and maybe he can get onto his plane. For him, maybe he'll be slower, maybe something else will happen on this side of the story. Maybe his day will be shittier. Let's see. We shall see what happens. I noticed that there was a sign ahead. Although I couldn't read it, I had a feeling that it must be pointing to the ticket counters. I had always had great instincts. A ticket cost over 10,000 pesos, just like Uncle Depp had told me. I had all my savings with me, including the money my parents and sister had left me, as well as what I had earned doing part-time jobs. It was only a little over 20,000 pesos altogether. I hoped I would be able to come back someday. 3 hours later, with a booming noise, the airplane took off. So, did the guy then take his wallet? The guy that he bumped into? I felt something suddenly pushing me into the seat cushion. I could see Mexico City becoming smaller and smaller outside the window. This was an unexpected scene to come up here. And the orphanage in Monte, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, had turned into a small white dot. I suddenly started to feel nervous. What if the plane went down? Okay, I don't think there's any punctuation here because he's nervous. What if the plane went down? I hoped it would fall in the ocean so I could still swim back, but the seatbelt thing was so annoying. If I couldn't untie it, would I be dragged into the water with the plane? I heard there was something called insurance that would pay a lot of money if someone died. Maybe it would be enough for Alicia to buy a new house in Mexico City. He's a little worried. Just when my brain was spinning with all of these questions, a beautiful lady asked if I would like some water. Oh, no. I checked my wallet again. There was only a little over 10,000 pesos left. I know what pesos are, it's the Mexican currency. I'm not clicking on that. From now on, I must be careful about spending every single one of them. I heard everything was really expensive in Hong Kong. I must save up before I find Alicia. Alicia, sister, I'm coming to find you. The Lord will bless us. So he was able to go see his family. Let's see what happens to Cheng Jung-min. I think that was his name. Yes, I believe that was. I heard the voice of a woman screaming in the crowd. Stop him! He's got my purse! Because he bumped into a man? The woman thinks that he took her purse? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. I looked down, and the man I had bumped into was holding a woman's... Oh, okay. I feel like an idiot. He actually tried pushing me away. As a policeman defending justice, how could I let a criminal escape the judgment of the law? Oh, so things are gonna go better for him even though he was late. Okay. That's... Okay. I grabbed his collar. Take this! I took the bastard to the police station. I ended up late, of course, but the captain left me off the hook for stopping the robber. Captain Gong glanced at the bloodstains on my shirt, gave a faint smile, and asked me why I wanted to become a police officer. I stood up straight, put my hands behind my back, held my head high, and replied firmly. To defend justice, yes. The captain scratched his balding head and smiled. Go report to Unit 4 then. What? Unit 4? I felt my heart suddenly sinking. I had heard so many rumors about Unit 4, even when I was still in the police academy. Both got an S ending. Those were pretty easy. It was only this one that I was able to switch over. That last one was pretty convoluted. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna make this episode a little bit longer. It's probably gonna take a while to upload, but I'm gonna make it a little bit longer because I want to read a few more letters. Good, we only got 2 more in here. One from Carlos, and one from him. Oh, alright! Cheng Jung-min and Carlos, let's see what is up. We're going to go ahead and start back with Carlos. Let's see what's going on with his sister. Maybe he found her. Hong Kong was different than what I had imagined. Back home in Mexico, everything was so colorful. But Hong Kong was just gray. Gray streets, gray buildings, gray store signs, and gray homeless people. And there was me sitting in the middle of them, looking odd. I never knew that pesos couldn't be exchanged into Hong Kong dollars here. When I woke up, I found a few more coins by my feet. I had to take them. I must survive. None of the homeless people seemed to like me very much, perhaps because they could only get about half as many coins as I. I had a big sister named Alicia. She was 9 years older than me. We both grew up in an orphanage in Monte... Again, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. I think it's Tlaloc or something. That's completely butchered, probably. It was a really rural place. You had to travel 4 kilometers to get to the nearest town, Coatepec, just to make a phone call. I couldn't remember anything about my own parents. My big sister was the only one I had in this world. 9 years ago, Alicia had left Mexico to make more money. She used to write me letters every few months. Every time the mailman came, I would be so excited to see if there was an envelope with my name on it. Even though I couldn't read much, Auntie Benita would always read them to me. Alicia didn't seem to have the easiest time, but she had seen so much of the outside world, and by reading her letters, I felt like I got to see what Alicia had seen as well. I could almost feel like I was right there with her in the big, new, interesting, and fascinating world that we had never seen before. However, we had stopped hearing from her about a year ago. Her last letter had come from Hong Kong. Oh, crap. So I noticed the name of Cheng Jung-min's letter was Kate's kidnapping. Carlos stopped hearing from his sister, and these two letters are connected. I hope his sister wasn't the one that got kidnapped. So I had asked Uncle Depp to find a tutor for me who could teach me how to read and speak a little of the local language. I had worked so hard to make more money for the trip. I had done all this just so I could come to Hong Kong, even though I wasn't sure if she was still in this city. Still, even if there is just the tiniest hope, I would never give up. I must find my sister, to make sure that she was okay. I had arrived at Pitt Street. Pitt Street had been on the postmark of Alicia's last letter. Maybe someone nearby might have seen her. Before I left, Auntie Benita had given me an old cell phone. I pulled up a picture of Alicia on the phone. I held up the phone, asking people door to door to see if they had seen my sister. I couldn't tell if they simply couldn't understand me. They would wave their hands at me every time before I had barely spoken. Almost halfway through the street, I found myself behind a huge crowd of people. Thick, dark smoke was coming out of a building nearby. People were shoving and running out of it. More and more people started to gather by the street. Many of them were even taking pictures with their phones. The fire truck finally arrived. My cell phone suddenly rang. My cell phone fell to the ground. My cell phone was vibrating on the ground, then it fell through the storm drain. That's oddly, just kind of listing off events. I think this will most definitely get changed. This seems a little odd here. No! The sewer water was flowing rapidly in the drain. I held onto the drain and tried my best to look down. Maybe the phone was stuck somewhere. I looked for a long time and even tried to reach in with my hand, but I couldn't get it. I was so tired, disappointed, and desperate. I couldn't pretend anymore, and I fell to the ground feeling like shit. That cell phone was the most valuable thing I had. It had the only picture of my sister on it. Lord, please help me. I really didn't know if I could ever find my big sister without it. Carlos. Damn, so shit just went south for this dude. Let's see how things go for Cheng. The office wing of Criminal Investigation Unit 4 looked like a small warehouse that hadn't been organized in forever. It was crowded and messy in the first place. Then, almost every desk had stacks of files that were at least 20 centimeters tall, as well as all kinds of evidence and other random items. I stood up straight and gave a salute. Whoa! We finally get to see what he looks like. This dude's just over here with a sniper rifle with a silencer on it. I don't think that's how things work in China. Cheng Jung-min, reporting for duty at Unit 4. There were only two other persons there besides me. One of them was wiping down his rifle. He looked at me with a strange, examining look on his face. The other one had dark circles around his eyes, which made him look like he hadn't slept for days. He was looking over some files. Judging from his seat, this must be the infamous lieutenant of Unit 4, Kang Bak-ya. Lieutenant Kang gave me a glance, with a half-smoked cigarette in his mouth. Then he mumbled, "You, over there." I followed the direction of his look, and saw the desk that he seemed to be referring to. Many old bags from McRonald's were stacked on top of it, all filled with leftovers and trash. It was also directly opposite the bathroom, facing it. Well, it was okay, as long as I had somewhere to sit. Well, that's a good attitude there, Cheng. I was about to ask Lieutenant King what I should do next when the phone on his desk rang. He put down the phone and announced to us that there was a gang-related hostage situation about 2 blocks away from here. I never thought my opportunity to defend justice would arrive so soon. Lieutenant Kang put out his cigarette in an ashtray and stood up. I followed him. He grabbed his coat and asked, "Hey, new guy, have you got your gun?" My gun? No, not yet. Then where do you think you're going? Stay by the phone. Take notes if anything comes up. Don't speak too much. I can still help without a gun. As a policeman, I swore to defend justice, to prevent all offenses against people and property. Justice? Lieutenant King burst into laughter before I could finish my sentence. You think justice is gonna block a bullet from hitting you? Well, kid, I've seen plenty of idiots like you. In my unit, there's only one rule you need to remember at all times, which is to follow the orders. That wasn't what I meant at all. I was just trying to help. First day on the job, and I was already having such a misunderstanding with my lieutenant. But before I could explain myself, Lieutenant Kang continued. If you have a problem with staying by the phone, you could just go home, and don't bother coming back tomorrow either. I'll let the old man know. After they left, I sat down at my seat opposite the bathroom. As my nose was catching glimpses of that faint, stinky smell, I let out a defeated sigh. When I had been in the police academy, people would always have an understanding smile on their faces whenever Unit 4 was brought up. Everyone had heard about all kinds of rumors about this place. Lieutenant Kang was the infamous dictator of the Criminal Investigation Department. Everyone must follow his orders without questions. He had a peculiar personality, and he was extremely rough, even cruel with the criminals. Besides, Lieutenant Kang was a lot younger than the other unit's lieutenants. Therefore, many people speculated that Lieutenant Kang had only gotten his position because of nepotism. I didn't get to read that last line. I'm sorry, I accidentally clicked. As for the unit that everyone dreamt about getting into, that would have to be Unit 1. Unit 1 had over 30 officers, and it was widely considered to be the best unit in the department. Yet, here I was, assigned to Unit 4. I was sulking when the phone rang again. There was another hostage case in Byopyongdong. I hope I said that right. Since no one in Unit 4 was available, I suppose this was my time to shine. I hurried to the scene in 10 minutes. It was a 10-story apartment building. I could vaguely see two people on the ledge of the rooftop. People told me that they were a married couple. The husband had borrowed too much money from loan sharks and couldn't pay them back. That was why he wanted to jump off the building, and he had forced his wife up there with him. Wow. Wow. You're gonna have some fun, Cheng. Well, let's see how I, Cheng Jung-min, would brilliantly solve this crisis. One of his feet were already at the edge of the ledge. He was holding a knife against the frightened wife's neck. I walked over there. Stop! I'm telling you to stop! He got riled up, and his right foot missed the ledge. He fell over the edge and dragged his wife with him. Fuck, dude. Holy shit. Cheng, what? God damn it, Cheng. Wait, no. It's too late, Cheng. What are you doing? Wait, no. He's falling. They're both falling to their death right now. Before I even had a chance to talk him down, both of them disappeared out of my sight. It was a terrible scene at the bottom of the building. Even though I was 10 floors above the ground, I felt that I could still smell the blood. It almost made me sick. I stood there in shock. For the first time, I finally recognized what it felt like to be a real policeman. Oh God. What the hell had I done? Could I be any more stupid? Please, Buddha. Please let me have another chance. Please. Cheng Jung-min. Well, Cheng, you need to switch up your act there, buddy. Let's see what we can swap. Instead of walking over there, let's see. I think I'm gonna have Carlos walk over there, like to the building where all the where all the people are and everything. And I think for him, I'm gonna have the fire truck arrive. Maybe the fire truck can catch the people falling, with the trampolines that they use for people jumping out of buildings or whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I'm totally explaining this completely all right. I think I'm gonna do fire truck arrive, cell phone rang, and then fell to the ground. What if I just swap these completely? Let's see what happens here. I'm actually curious about this. Let's see what happens here. The phone kept ringing. Who the hell would be calling me at this godforsaken moment? I was about to bend over and pick it up. The man suddenly got riled up. He waved the knife at me wildly. Don't move! Don't answer your phone! His wife saw a chance as the knife had left her neck, so she bit his left wrist as hard as she could. He dropped the knife out of pain. Then she ran over and hid behind me before he could pick it back up. The man suddenly began wailing like a child. Even you are abandoning me. Fine. I'll just go by myself. He raised his knife and cut his own throat open. Why did you have... Cheng, why did you have to make that motion? I didn't even have enough time to react. And I clicked again before I could finish reading that, but I'm glad I saw all the words. I was suspended due to the serious consequences caused by reckless, unauthorized actions. Damn. I cannot imagine what it would be like to see a guy slit his throat in front of you like that. And then be the one that kind of caused it, in a way. God damn. The fire trucks hadn't arrived yet. It was total chaos in front of the burning building. More and more injured people were being carried out of the building. A man in a black trench coat seemed to have summoned a lot of people to help put out the fire. I wasn't injured, and I had all my limbs. I should go help too. I walked toward the man. Excuse me, I would like to... A huge man in a black suit appeared in front of me and blocked my sight. The suit guy seemed like twice my size. He looked down upon me and I could see a deep scar on his face. Help. I swallowed anxiously and had no idea what to say next. The suit guy held up his hand and pointed to somewhere behind me. A truck full of fire extinguishers had just arrived. The fire was finally put out by sunset. I sat on the stairs at the bottom of the building, exhausted. I was covered with dust and ash from head to toe. All of the injured people had been sent to the hospital. The man leading the team had already left. My stomach began rumbling. Man, if I could only get a free meal for helping put out a fire. He got a bad ending. He got a rank B ending. I think I'm gonna retry that. I'm gonna leave the fire truck over here. So fire truck, and then he walks over there. Let's see what happens. It was total chaos in front of the burning building. Fire trucks, firemen, fire hoses, the fire department. Fire trucks, firemen, fire hoses. The fire department had taken charge of the situation. I walked up to a fireman nearby and asked if there was anything I could do to help. A foreigner? He asked as he looked at me. You really shouldn't stay here. If we don't put out this fire today, we'll be dying 1,000 deaths. What? 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 I'm so confused. He saw my confusing look and Thank you, game. Thank you, game. Thank you. You're new here. This is the headquarters of the Black Dragon Gang, the most powerful gang in this area. Oh, I can't click. Blue, I'm supposed to be click. What? Yes, gang. Bad people. There are gangs in your country, right? So stay away from here. Leave. Just go get some soda or something. Oh, now I can click on it? First established by Lin Dexu, or I don't know how you pronounce it, the Black Dragon Gang has gradually become the largest local gang organization in Hong Kong. The gang itself is almost inseparable from the businesses under the Lin Co. umbrella. Its reach includes drugs, firearms, and underground gambling, and so on. It used to be one of the two major gangs on the island, along with the Blood Gang, whose motto is blood for blood. However, it quickly grew to 3 times the size of its rival after getting into the drug smuggling business. Nevertheless, lots of young people still choose the Blood Gang because of its emphasis on loyalty. Let's go get some soda or something, he says. His ending didn't change, I guess because the fire trucks didn't have anything to do with it. Let's see. He walks over there. How about I want to try and shoot for some S endings because both of these dudes are good dudes, and I want Carlos to be able to find his sister, and I'm assuming because these two are connected somehow, he's gonna be the one to find his sister. What if his cell phone rings after the fire truck arrives? And his phone just falls to the ground, whatever. Let's see if this actually makes a difference. I think it's going to change maybe a little. I don't know. Yeah, I knew it was going to change Cheng's, but I don't know about Carlos. I tried to talk some sense into him. I told him that one could always earn back the money. I said he still had his wife's full support, so he shouldn't give up just yet. I even tried asking him if he would like some dulcet for dinner. Bibimbap. I'm probably saying I feel incredibly racist with my pronunciations, but I don't. What? But none of the techniques I had learned from the academy worked. The standoff kept going. The wife was clearly physically exhausted, and she looked like she was mentally drained too. Honey, if you really want to die so much, let me go with you then. I hope we could both be happy in our next lives. She grabbed the knife on her neck and cut her own throat open. Blood was gushing out. Then she collapsed onto the ground that had been colored red by her own blood. The man's face was covered with blood. He seemed to have lost the ability to talk. He slowly knelt down and took the knife out of a woman's hands. It looked like he had completely lost his mind. I couldn't let it happen a second time. I sprinted ahead a few steps and kicked the knife out of his hand. I pinned the man down on the ground. He looked at his wife's body, which was only half a meter away and slowly losing its warmth. Then he wept. God fucking bless. Neither of us had expected the situation to turn out like that. I was suspended due to the serious consequences caused by my reckless, unauthorized actions. You know, I want to get the S rank ending because I feel if he gets the S rank ending and he gets promoted, then he will be able to do this kidnapping case to find his sister, Carlos's sister. But I don't know. I don't know what I can do here. What if nothing happens to Cheng? What if nothing happens to him? Let's see. It was total chaos in front of the burning building. Fire trucks. Oh, I think I'm gonna go through this and see if there's anything new, and if there's not, then I'm just gonna cut this part out. Oh, okay, it is literally right here, it's different. I walked up to a fireman nearby, and I was about to ask if there was anything I could do to help. But before I opened my mouth, another fireman quickly ran past me and knocked the phone out of my hand. And another one behind him immediately stepped on the phone. The screen cracked into... Oh, fuck, dude, No! The fireman next to me picked up the phone for me. A foreigner? You really shouldn't stay here. If we don't put out this fire today, we'll be dying 1,000 deaths. Take your phone and get out of here. Rank E? I mean, at least it's not bad. What if... What if I do it like this? I don't think this is going to change anything, but maybe it will. Oh no, it will. I think both stories are going to change. I think that's what the red and white barbershop type lines mean. Okay, this looks the same again, but like last time, if there's anything different, then I'll cut it in. Otherwise, I'm going to leave this part out. Shit, this one's different too. God, catching me off guard. Who the hell would be calling me at this godforsaken moment? I turned around and answered the phone quietly. It was from the station. They told me something important had happened to the unit and I must get back as soon as possible and await further instructions. I hung up the phone and turned around, only to realize the couple had disappeared from the ledge. It was a terrible scene at the bottom of the building. Even though I was 10 floors above the ground, I felt that I could still smell the blood. It almost made me sick. I stood there in shock. For the first time, I finally recognized what it felt like to be a real policeman. Oh God, what the hell had I done? Could I be any more stupid? Someone quickly ran past me and bumped into my arm. My phone was knocked out of my hand and dropped on the ground. It kept spinning ahead and almost fell down a storm drain. That was close. Ooh, he gets to keep his phone, yes! It was total chaos in front of the burning building. I left the crowd and walked to the next street, asking the pedestrians about Alicia. I can't seem to get it to work no matter how hard I try. Am I too stupid? It's not your fault. Something seems to be tied up over there with Kang Bakya. Once you solve the problem over there, it might impact this one too. Huh? Is that a thing too? Occasionally, we might not be able to solve the current case because of something happened somewhere else. Whenever this occurs, you will see orange text in the letters. The appearance of orange text typically means that you will need to consult another letter to handle the current one. So, basically, if I see orange text in a letter, I should go check on some other letters first, right? Correct. Sometimes you might need to handle the other letters first. Other times, it might just mean that you need to look for clues in the other letters. In either case, it really depends on the letters and you'll have to use your own judgment. This doesn't happen too often, but if you do encounter them, make sure you take advantage of the hints in the letters to help you. Got it. I'll go read the letter from Kang Bakya first then. Okay. You might have already noticed that every time you open a letter, you can see a number of small colored squares here. Oh yes, what are those? The small squares can be one of three colors: yellow, pink, and gray. Some of them are solid, while some of them are empty. These squares represent all of the possible endings for the events described in a specific letter. The solid ones stand for the endings that you might have discovered, while the empty ones are the endings that you have yet to reach. Of the solid squares, the yellow one marks the selected ending that you have chosen at the moment, which means the yellow square can only be solid and never empty. The solid pink squares, on the other hand, represent the endings that you have discovered, but are not selected at the moment. The pink empty squares are the endings you have not discovered yet. All these squares are strictly arranged in order, S, A, B, C, D, E, F, X, which could be a helpful reference when you are making your decisions. Okay, so the far left would be the best rank, highest rank. Okay. What about these gray squares? Gray squares may be either solid or empty, but they are less common. Sometimes the development of certain events may be impacted by other people and things. For instance, this incident with Cheng Jung-min was affected by the incident on Kang Bakya's side. That's why there's a gray square there. A gray square means that under current conditions, the probability of this potential ending happening is 0, or in layman's terms, it cannot happen. Once we solve the related pending problem, the square will no longer be gray, meaning that it is now possible for us to reach this ending. Meanwhile, a previous ending that we have reached will now turn gray instead. Confused. I understand it is very confusing when I explain it to you like this. However, I believe once you're done with Cheng Jung-min's story, you will figure out how it works. got it. I'll give it a shot. Alright, so... Oh man, there's more letters here. Are these connected? Those two are connected to each other. But maybe these will have to somehow correspond with these. I'm hoping that they will somehow correspond with these, but I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. It's quite a long one. I'm sitting at 45 minutes recording right now on the dot right now. So I don't know how long this video is going to be once I edit it down. Probably about 30 minutes, maybe 35 minutes. I don't cut too much out of my videos, so. But anyways, this is getting convoluted and awesome. I'm digging it. I love puzzles, and this is definitely very puzzling. It's also a very little confusing, but hopefully I'll catch on after, like he said, after I finish Cheng Jung-min's letter and finish Carlos. Hopefully for Cheng Jung-min, the couple won't die. Somehow the couple will not die. I need to figure out how. I know I can do it. Carlos, he's good. He got the D rank ending this time. He didn't. I don't know why it's the D rank ending. His phone is fine, and he walked away. But I'm not sure. I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.